Good morning. My name is Jeffrey Trumbauer. I'm the Vice President for Academic Affairs. I'm honored to welcome you to the 112th Commencement Exercises of St. Michael's College, Dr. D.E. Lorraine Starrett presiding. Please remain standing while Wency Stevanusi, Master's Class of 19, leads us in the singing of our national anthem. This will be followed by an invocation led by the Reverend Brian Cummings, SSE, Director of Edmondite Campus Ministry.
Oh, see, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say thus that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
In our Catholic tradition today, it's known as Good Shepherd Sunday, as the gospel reading is always taken from the 10th chapter of John. In our baccalaureate mass, we heard these words from John's gospel. Jesus said, "My sheep hear my voice. I know them, and they follow me. I give them eternal life, and they shall never perish." Let us pray in a particular way today that our 2019 graduates, as sons and daughters of God, will never perish, but will be rewarded with eternal life, which is the pilgrim journey of us all. Almighty and all-loving God, we ask your blessings upon our commencement exercises today. Send forth your Holy Spirit upon these, our 2019 graduates of St. Michael's College. Give them the strength of the risen Lord to be bold proclaimers of the words and actions of your Son, Jesus. Empower them with your Spirit to work for peace and justice, to care for the poor and those in need. And kindle in them the flame of your love for all people, so that they may be the light of the world that Jesus intended all of us to be. Bless all our honored guests and dignitaries. Bless our faculty, staff, and administration who toil in the vineyard of Catholic higher education. Bless our alumni and benefactors who support us in this Edmondite ministry. Bless the families and friends of our graduates, especially their mothers on this Mother's Day. We ask this through our Lord Jesus Christ, your Son, who lives and reigns with you in the unity of the Holy Spirit, one God forever and ever.
Thank you. You may be seated. President Starrett, Chairperson McKenna, members of the St. Michael's College Board of Trustees, members of the Society of St. Edmund, distinguished candidates for honorary degrees, parents, relatives, friends, alumni, distinguished guests, active and veteran military personnel, and most importantly, members of the class of 2019. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you today. I also want to give a special welcome in honor of Mother's Day to all who've had the privilege of serving in a maternal role at some point in the lives of our graduates. For those mothers who are present and those in our memories, we honor you today. I'm pleased to celebrate with you on this wonderful occasion. At this point, I'd like to make a small request. Given that the ceremony will last up to 2.5 hours, you may feel the need to leave at some point and come back. If you do, please use the doors at the back of the gymnasium to minimize disruption to the speakers and ceremony up here in the front. Thank you. Today's ceremony is dedicated to a number of faculty who have held important roles at the college and are retiring from St. Michael's this year. In recognition of their many years of service and devotion to students as teachers and mentors, they will be granted the designation of emeritus faculty upon their retirements. Vincent Bolduc, Professor of Sociology and Anthropology; John Hughes, Professor of Political Science; Susana Cadas, Professor of Mathematics; John Kenny, Professor of Religious Studies; and Jennifer Payon-Vogt, Instructor of Chemistry. In addition, this ceremony is held in memory of faculty who have passed away in the last year. Robert Fox, Professor of Applied Linguistics; Catherine Hurst, Professor of Fine Arts; Eugene P. O'Neill, Professor of English as a Second Language; Luis R. Quiros, Professor of Modern Languages and Literature; Donald A. Rathgeb, Professor of Fine Arts; Reverend Jack Scully, SSE, Professor of English and Theology; and Tim Whiteford, Professor of Education. While today's commencement is first and foremost a celebration of the academic achievements of our students, we also honor today our founding order, the Society of St. Edmund. St. Michael's College was founded, formed, and continues to be greatly influenced by the Society and its tradition of dedication to social justice, education, inclusion, spiritual renewal, and pastoral ministry. Our institutional mission is a reflection of that Edmundite tradition, quote, to contribute through higher education to the enhancement of the human person and to the advancement of human culture in light of the Catholic faith. We have chosen our 2019 honorary degree candidates because they have led lives of purpose and service to others, lives that cohere with what the Edmundites and this college stand for. Class of 2019, we hope that you'll be inspired by these distinguished individuals and that you'll make a commitment to set high goals for yourself as you leave this home to explore your own paths. Now it is my honor to present to you Dr. Lorraine Sterrett, the 17th president of St. Michael's College.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome and greetings to our spectacular students and to their friends and families. It is so wonderful to have you here. A special welcome to Chair of the Board of Trustees, Mary Kate McKenna, and the other members of the board. We're also very honored to have President Emeritus Dr. Mark Vanderheiden and his wife Donna, who are here with us on this special occasion to celebrate you. Welcome members of the Edmundite community and our distinguished guests here on the platform, including Karen Korematsu, who will address the graduates shortly, and our other honorary degree recipients, each of whom have made successful careers and fulfilling lives by doing those things that we are asking you to do, doing well and doing good in the world. Greetings and welcome to the faculty and staff who helped this graduating class along the way and helped them to make it here today. A warm welcome to all of you. Commencement is among my favorite days of the year. I can feel the shared mixture of excitement, joy, pride, even perhaps relief in this room. I'm also sad to see the class of 2019, my first graduating class, depart. But remember, we do have graduate programs, so you don't have to leave us. I am deeply privileged to be here and to be among the first to congratulate you on your accomplishments. And it is no small accomplishment. Many of you have spent a total of 16 years focused on learning and preparation, all culminating in this moment. So are you prepared? Let me answer that with an emphatic yes, you are. Do you know everything that you will need to know in life? Let me answer that with an equally emphatic not so much. But what I can tell you as president of this fine institution, founded and nourished by the charism of the Society of St. Edmund, is that thanks to the faculty who have challenged you intellectually and the staff who have engaged with you in so many ways, you are well prepared to take on the world. Life will bring you many new things to learn each and every day, and so you must be open to every voice that you hear. You are prepared to think for yourself, to think of new solutions to age-old problems as well as the challenges of tomorrow, to think of others, and that no matter how different we may seem, we have a common humanity and a need to be uplifted at times. You are prepared to think about the environment, the planet that God gave us, and how it is on all of us to take care of our shared home. To think about faith and what it can mean in your life, and what it means to respect and appreciate the faith of others. So I encourage you to keep on thinking. You are also prepared to learn from others. You understand that everyone has something to offer, and if we open our hearts and minds and listen to others, we can learn from anyone. To learn from new experiences, trying new things, exploring new places, and going outside of our comfort zone can be a source of great learning. So continue to learn. It is a lifelong commitment to personal growth. You are prepared to care about outcomes. Your professors did more than convey knowledge. They also asked you whether you cared enough to make a difference. To care about each other. You grew to understand that personal success and fulfillment are so much richer when they are shared. To also care for yourself. You have learned that you need sleep. You have learned that you matter, your body matters, your mind matters, your physical self matters, your mental health matters, and all require conscious attention. So please continue to think, to learn, and to care. You are our future, and you are well prepared for it. You may be leaving this campus today, but only for a while. You have an open invitation to come back and see us. In the meantime, as you move to the next phase of your life, I have a favor to ask of you. Reflect on all that St. Michael's has meant for you and has done for you, and go tell the world about that. Go back to your high school and tell that next generation of college students about St. Michael's College. One of the most valuable things that you can do for the college is to spread the word to the next crop of students who will come to fill your gigantic shoes. Lastly, remember that we want to hear from you. You now have a vast network of all who are affiliated with St. Michael's College. Let us know where you are, let us know what you are doing, and what new things you are learning. Believe me, your professors and all of us here care about you. Remember this moment. Remember each other. Remember St. Michael's College. You will always have a home here. And above all, go out into that world and take it by storm. Thank you very much. And now it is my very distinct honor to introduce the chair of the Board of Trustees of St. Michael's College, Mary Kate McKenna.
Good morning and happy Mother's Day, first of all. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, I would like to say welcome and congratulations to the St. Michael's College class of 2019. This is a day that you will remember for the rest of your lives, and you should be very proud in what you have accomplished. Myself, I have been a student, alumna, reunion chair, a parent, and a board member, and now I am chair of the Board of Trustees. I am deeply grateful for and proud of my over 40-year association with St. Michael's College. This will always be your community. You have been given the incredible advantage of a rigorous four-year liberal arts education steeped in the Edmondite tradition of service to others. You are now uniquely qualified to enter the workplace and your communities with your aptitude for polite face-to-face discourse and your commitment to civility, which is sorely lacking in many aspects of our society today. All of us would like to think that your time here at St. Michael's has been transformative and will allow you to use the knowledge that you have acquired to change the world for the better. You are well prepared for an active role in our democratic society. Vote always, run for office if you are committed enough. Sorry, I have to flip the page here. Help out in campaigns that represent issues that you are passionate about. You are the future of the country. Your education has prepared you to be leaders with an intellectual and moral compass. Don't allow the cynics and the critics to poison your idealism. It is your duty to carry on the tradition of doing well while doing good. Be wary of persuasive technologies and thought bubbles. Curate your news sources to make sure that you are getting reliable information. Facebook should never replace news sources of record, and it is not enough anymore to be savvy regarding the information we are receiving. We are living through a complicated time, but you have been well prepared to take on and solve these complex issues. And please do so, the sooner the better. You possess the ability to picture the world as multicultural and multifaceted. Expand your vision and your thinking as you grow older. You should feel compelled to look at many different facets of a quandary and make your own decisions. In a world of intense negativity, be a positive force for change. Inspire those around you with your outlook on life and your passions. Don't wait for good things to happen. Cause good things to happen. Look at yourselves. You are veterans, musicians, magicians, politicians, community volunteers, student association members, athletes, farmers, and Everglades biodiversity specialist as well. And by the way, I hope you all came back with your limbs intact. You organize, you care, you make a difference. St. Michael's College is not just a four-year institution, but a lifelong community. I can tell you from my own experience that 40 years goes by much faster than you could possibly imagine at your age. And even though I have given this advice before, it is too vital to omit. Stay close to your friends, your professors, the staff, and the Edmondites. This community will always be a safe haven for you in good times as well as bad. They will still care deeply about you even though you have graduated. You have created enduring friendships here which will become lifelong bonds. Now you will take the wisdom which you have accumulated and venture forth into an uncertain but exciting future. Today marks the beginning of the next chapter of your lifelong journey. How will you infuse your life with purpose and meaning? It is now time for you to decide. Thank you, and have a great day. And now we turn it back to Jeffrey Trumbauer. Thank you.
The Catherine Fairbanks Memorial Award and the Father Preble Memorial Award are given to students in the graduating class who demonstrate commitment and achievement related to the intellectual, spiritual, moral, and social values of St. Michael's College. The two awardees I'm about to present are outstanding representatives of this class at St. Michael's College. President Sterrett, I'm pleased to present to you the class of 2019 recipient of the Catherine Fairbanks Memorial Award, Emily Ferreri. Emily, will you please come forward to the podium? Emily is from Hyde Park, New Jersey, and majors in biology with a minors in chemistry, psychology, and religious studies. She combines these interests in creative ways throughout her academic career. As one professor put it, quote, Emily truly embraced the liberal arts at St. Michael's. While excelling in biology and other science courses, she specifically chose religious studies courses that would expose her to a multitude of religious traditions, consciously seeking to develop a cultural competency that will serve her well in her healthcare career. Emily served as the student representative on the Presidential Search Committee last year. She was a member of the women's basketball team, as well as a 4-year member of the Student Athlete Advisory Committee, most recently serving as secretary on the executive board. Her coach put it this way, quote, as a senior captain, Emily was hands down one of, if not the best leader and most well-rounded student athletes to come through our program. She's respected by her teammates, coaches, and just about anybody she comes in contact with due to her high level of maturity, commitment, and integrity. Additionally, she took the lead on many community and campus service activities, such as Making Strides Against Breast Cancer Walk, Sisters in Sports, Easter baskets for COTS, and work with Special Olympics. Emily has set the bar high for what a student athlete can achieve, and certainly has left her mark. Emily, we honor you with the 2019 Catherine Fairbanks Award. President Sterrett, I'm pleased to present to you the Class of 2019 recipient of the Father Preble Memorial Award, Ryan Hay. Ryan, will you please come to the podium? A magna cum laude student in both Spanish and music, Ryan Hay studied in Granada, Spain during the spring of his junior year, and he became a leader in the St. Michael's Orchestra. His professors praise him in the academic realm in the following ways, quote, Ryan is a dedicated and gifted student. His greatest strength is his ability to know when to ask for help. He's a hard worker and will do whatever it takes to get the job done. Another one says, Ryan is one of the most creative thinkers I have known. This creativity is applied in all aspects of his leadership style. It is inclusive and high energy. His special gift is being able to be creative in solving a problem or a challenge. In the extracurricular sphere, Ryan has been part of the core student leadership team in MOVE for 3 years as a coordinator of Little Brother, Little Sister. Also in his campus ministry portfolio are liturgical choir, LEAP, and Emmaus retreats. Ryan has also been the work-study student for the Great Housing Program for 4 years, and he, along with the RA team, has helped transform that program. As one of his mentors put it, quote, one thing is certain, Ryan will be an agent for change regardless of where he lands. His energy, enthusiasm, and aptitude will be an asset to any work environment. After graduating, Ryan plans to relocate to Spain, where he'll be working as an English language assistant in a Spanish K-12 school. He plans to polish his Spanish and return to the United States to continue his education and become a bilingual professional in the medical field. Ryan, we honor you with the 2019 Father Preble Memorial Award. In addition to the Preble and Fairbanks Awards, St. Michael's has a number of ways in which we honor high academic achievement. One of these honorary distinctions is through involvement in our own honors program, and another is induction into one of the college-wide or disciplinary honor societies with chapters on our campus. 53 of our seniors have completed all the requirements of the St. Michael's College Honors Program, and many dozens of students have been inducted into the various National Honor Societies. You can review the names of these outstanding students in the commencement program. I would like to ask all students who completed the honors program or who were inducted into a National Honor Society to please rise. You may be seated. Thank you. Another mark of distinction is Latin honors based on grade point average, cum laude at 3.5, magna cum laude at 3.7, and summa cum laude at 3.9 or higher. These designations are marked with each individual's name in your program, and you can follow along. Among the summa cum laude students, President Sterrett, are the valedictorians for the class of 2019. This is not a simple process this year because, in fact, we have multiple students with GPAs of 4.0 on their St. Michael's courses. As is customary in the Academy, we based this award on either the average of all courses taken at St. Michael's College or the average of all college courses, including transfer credits, whichever is lower. Using these calculations, we're able to identify 3 students who have a 4.0 perfect average on all college courses taken. And I'm going to read their names, and I would ask the 3 valedictorians to please come forward when I call your name, and please hold your applause until the end of the list so we can hear all the names. The names are Lori Lorraine Blaise, Emily Della Ferreri, and Callie Danielle Opsal. President Sterrett, our first valedictorian is Lori Lorraine Blaise, who's from Lindaboro, New Hampshire. She's a biology major with minors in chemistry and psychology. Our second valedictorian is Emily Della Ferreri, who is from Hyde Park, New Jersey. Emily is a biology major with minors in chemistry, psychology, and religious studies. And our final valedictorian is Callie Danielle Opsal. Callie is from Farmington, Minnesota, and is double majoring in biology and religious studies with a minor in chemistry. Congratulations to all 3 of you. As the valedictorians leave, I would ask for their attention as they're going down the stairs. We have a tradition at St. Michael's that at the end of today's ceremony, that we ask the 3 valedictorians, are they listening? The 3 valedictorians to come join us at the bottom of the stairs here to help President Sterrett lead the procession out. So we'll see you back up here at the end. Thank you. It is customary at commencements to have student speakers who are selected to provide reflection and words of wisdom to their peers. Today we have representatives from both undergraduate and graduate programs. First, it's my pleasure to introduce Yulia Fakrutidnova, who is a Fulbright student receiving her degree today from our master's program in teaching English to speakers of other languages. She is from the city of Samara in the southwest of Russia. Following graduation, she will be starting a doctoral program in applied linguistics at UMass Boston. Please welcome Yulia.
Good morning, everyone. Our life is a long path with ups and downs, turns and twists, where we can meet people who inspire us. Our path can be very expected or totally unpredictable. The only thing that we should do is make our choice and not to be afraid to say yes. My path started with the great support of my parents. In 1990, immediately following the collapse of the Soviet Union, many former countries were left in hunger because of the economic crisis. One of those former countries was Uzbekistan in Central Asia, where my parents got married. They didn't have higher education, but while raising me, they did everything they could to empower me by reading books, discussing history, visiting museums, attending theaters, and encouraging me to follow my passion for the English language from a young age. When I was 10, they decided to move to Russia, Samara. They worked long hours to make money and pay for my education at the university. After graduating with a BA in philology, I entered the marketing field. However, the farther down the path I traveled, the more I realized it didn't seem the right choice. At some point, my former Spanish teacher suggested that I try teaching Spanish at the university. I said yes, and began a journey down a new path. To my surprise, I loved teaching. Even though I had always said, I will never be a teacher. Never say never. Another influential professor won a Fulbright grant and went to the US. Her experience inspired me to apply. I failed the first time, but while failure is painful and stressful, I didn't give up. I applied again. I remember at 8 a.m. on the 15th of April, 2017, I received a message from St. Michael's College through the Fulbright Foreign Student Program. And the message was yes. And thus, a new path emerges. Joining the MIT SOL program through the Applied Linguistics department here at St. Michael's College meant more than joining an academic program. It meant becoming a part of an international family. On this new path, I have developed lifelong friendships with classmates and housemates who taught me how to cook Iraqi biryani, Kurdish shifta, Japanese nabe, Indonesian sade, Azerbaijani kuku, Congolese mikate, Nicaraguan gallo pinto, and American mac and cheese. I learned how to say enjoy your meal in each of these languages. Even though he cannot cook, our classmate from Bahrain always makes sure to celebrate important moments of our lives. And the most surprising of all, I even fell in love with a classmate from Iraq. On this path, my teaching experiences during the program also brought me close to Vermont refugee populations, which unexpectedly resulted in my thesis research with some wonderful students from the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Iraq, and Nepal. Now, I prepare for the next turn in my path, which is taking me to a doctoral program in applied linguistics at UMass Boston. I'm happy to stay close to Vermont, knowing that the path back to St. Michael's College to visit will always be open to me. I can travel it knowing that the work and time I invested here has paid off, and the friendship I gain here are forever. The path in life is long, with beauty and barriers along the way, with many options for detours and changes in course. As you embark on this next phase of your lives after graduation, take your time to pause along the path, to appreciate what you have been through, and to reflect on what lies ahead. Consider the options, but stay true to who you are as you make life choices. Listen to your heart, and when she encourages you to take a risk, just say yes. Thank you, St. Michael's College, the MIT SOL program, and the Fulbright program. Thank you, members of the faculty, administration, alumni, honored guests, proud parents, and devoted friends. I'd like to share with you a short message in Russian. Спасибо моим родителям и друзьям, which means thank you to my parents and friends, and congratulations to all of you, and especially to the graduating class 2019.
Thank you so much, Yulia. Each year, the senior class selects a colleague whom they respect and admire, and from whom they want to hear some final words. To speak this morning, the class of 2019 has selected Winston Jones II, who is graduating with a double major in psychology and education studies. He's from Valley Stream, New York. Winston.
Oh, wow, it's a lot of people up here. Okay, all right. Well, quick shout out to my teammates, Levi and Jane over there, my boy Derek, I see you over there. Get out the way real quick. So good morning, faculty, staff, alumni, loved ones, and fellow graduates. I'm elated to be here in this momentous occasion with all of you. Today we celebrate and recognize dedication, resilience, effort, and joy that has been exercised during these 4 chapters in our book of life. Before I begin, we're gonna adjust. Hold on, 6'5", need a little heavy there. All right, perfect. Where was I? Before I begin, I'd like to thank all my fellow classmates who entrusted me with delivering not only a moving speech, but a memorable one as well. Also, if you haven't got the chance to converse with me before, this is a golden ticket to do so now, so please listen up, soak it all in. There are also 2 people that I recognize in the crowd as well today. Their names are Brenna Galvin and Christiana Kiki. This is all their idea for having me up here, so thank you for campaigning for me. Like I said before, my name is Winston Jones II, not the third, not the first, not even junior, it's just the second. I'm a sneaker enthusiast, athlete, a Dean's List student, and a proud African-American graduate. I hail from the Big Apple, and contrary to popular belief, New Yorkers do take some time to sleep, so let's ask my mom and dad about my professional napping career. I want us all to close our eyes for a second and take a trip down memory lane. Paint this picture in your head. It's late August, the U-Haul van is filled to the brim with all your college essentials from Target, the sun is beaming beautifully, and you're approaching what's about to be called your home for the next 4 years. I can still hear the ringing of those whistles from orientation in the back of my head. Thankfully, we are the last class to suffer that torment. That period of early adulthood can be a daunting transition. New places, new spaces, and plenty of new faces. But nonetheless, it is a transition that is embraced with open arms, such as this one today. As most of you know, I'm an avid Snapchat user. My daily stories consist of providing the masses with some words of wisdom, or as I like to call it, Winnie wisdom. So today, you're all in for a treat. You're getting a live viewing of Winnie Wisdom free of charge, so don't worry. When it comes to matters of confusion or difficulty or simply frustration, my mother has always been my personal therapist. So it's only fitting that I share with you all today, on Mother's Day, valuable advice that she's blessed me with for years to come. And she's right up there, actually. So being an education and psychology student, I tend to focus a lot on themes and big picture concepts. So today's theme is simple: listen and observe. 2 words, what they may lack in complexity, they make up for in magnitude. My mother gave me this advice as I began middle school, and thank God for puberty, because the Winston you see before you now was not that Winston a couple years ago. But similar to a college transition, middle school was a new beast to conquer. Kids from all over the area, new teachers to impress, new setting to get accustomed to. It was a lot, to say the least. But as we all know, mothers have that innate ability to make even the scariest situations seem peaceful. My mother simply told me to listen and observe. Listen to the people with the same aspirations as you. Observe as who was truly your friend and just along for the ride. Listen to people because everyone has a story worth hearing. Observe how you are blossoming into a beautiful flower. Listen to your own heart. Observe the spaces in which you are welcomed for who you are, not who people expect you to be. And listen and observe to every breathing day you have on this earth. This advice has catapulted me into positions beyond measure. It has granted me a full scholarship to this wonderful institution. It has allowed me to network and build a name for myself. But more importantly, it's allowed me to gain the respect, love, and meaningful connections I have with all of you in this room today. As this one chapter ends, another one soon begins for all of us. While we may all be on different pages of the same book, the theme still remains the same. Listen and observe. Take this advice and run with it. And don't worry, I'm sure my mom will give you permission to use it all you want, so spread it around. Now, before I lose half of you to sleep, I just have one more question for you all. Sputies tonight? Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Winston. By the conferral of honorary degrees, St. Michael's College honors and is honored by members of the world community whose lives and accomplishments reflect the mission and values that we share. We're privileged to offer 3 honorary degrees in the class of 2019. Each of these candidates has received significant accolades and distinctions as a result of their varied life and career choices. I ask you to please hold your applause for each candidate until the President confers the degree. Thank you. John Trono, Professor of Computer Science, will sponsor our first candidate.
William Gallagher's commitment to St. Michael's College, witnessed repeatedly through his personal investments of time, resources, and strong character, illustrates powerfully how our best servant leaders can channel business success to promote the wider common good. In Mr. Gallagher's case, it was through data, computers, and financial services as the co-founder and CEO of Atlantic Data Services Incorporated in Massachusetts. This was after decades of leadership for other major players in his industry. Service values took early root in Mr. Gallagher's life, including a U.S. Army medical specialist in the late 1960s. Much later, when his daughter attended St. Michael's, he connected strongly to its values, becoming deeply invested in the college fortune and serving the trustees for more than a decade, including 4 years as chair, hosting multiple college events, chairing the College Parents Program, and serving on career panels for alumni. His generosity has supported important initiatives, including the John J. Newhouser Fund for Innovation and Research, the Quad Dorm Connector Project, the Peace and Justice Fund, the St. Michael's Fund, and the Vanderheiden Endowment for Fine Arts. He also gives of himself well beyond St. Michael's for many corporate and civic boards, Catholic schools, and agencies fighting poverty and cancer. President Sterrett, in recognition of his extraordinary leadership and generosity here at St. Michael's College and beyond, it is my honor to present you William H. Gallagher.
For your faithful and responsible leadership of St. Michael's College through critical years, and for your alert recognition and stewardship of technology and business trends to benefit wider society through education and philanthropy, St. Michael's College is honored to award you, William H. Gallagher, the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa.
Robert Lutovsky, Professor of Business Administration, will sponsor David LaMarche, class of 1960. Will the candidate please come forward?
Over the many years that I've been at St. Michael's, there have been countless students, faculty, and administrators who have wondered who was responsible for hiring me. Well, here he is, and you can take it up with him after the ceremonies conclude. Today's honorary degree rounds out a sort of royal flush for David LaMarche, St. Michael's College class of 1960, whose winning hand already possesses the highest honors that St. Michael's College has for service, citizenship, mission, and scholarship. In his long career as a respected business professor and administrator, he's been awarded the Norbert Kuntz Award for faculty service twice, the Colonel Donald Cook Citizenship Award, the Rice Mission Award, and he is an endowed business department faculty teaching chair named in his honor, which I currently occupy. David LaMarche has earned the enduring respect of college, community, and alumni leaders alike. The endowed chair, named in his honor in 2008, was made possible by alumnus and former trustee Edward Cashman, St. Michael's College class of 1958. With an MBA from Boston University and postgraduate studies at NYU, David LaMarche served St. Michael's as an associate professor, and department chair, as well as interim vice president for academic affairs in the 1990s, vice president for planning, assistant to the president, and now as professor emeritus. In service to the college's founding mission, he was treasurer general for the Society of St. Edmunds for 14 years and currently serves as the secretary of the board of directors for the Fathers of St. Edmunds Southern Missions. Earlier, he taught college in New Jersey, and he was a leader of the Brattleboro Finance Corporation. He has been active in many civic and community initiatives and roles, including the Catholic Youth Ministry, the local arts scene, and as members of both the planning and school boards in Essex Junction. President Sterrett, for his many years of dedicated service to St. Michael's College, the Society of St. Edmund, and the community, it is my honor to present to you David LaMarche.
For your exemplary leadership and service to St. Michael's College and the wider community as a formidable and principled businessman, administrator, educator, and public servant, St. Michael's College is honored to award you, David LaMarche, the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa.
Jennifer Purcell, Professor of History, will sponsor Karen Korematsu, founder and executive director of the Fred T. Korematsu Institute. Will the candidate please come forward as the sponsor reads your citation?
Motivated by her father's courageous example in his decades-long fight to assure civil liberties for all after his World War II incarceration in a camp for Japanese Americans, Karen Korematsu has made it her life's work to pass on to her fellow citizens her family's hard-won lessons about constitutional rights and protections, not only for immigrant families, but for all communities. Founder and executive director of the Fred T. Korematsu Institute and daughter of the late Fred Korematsu. She is a civil rights advocate, public speaker, and educator, carrying forth her father's important legacy, which now endures perpetually in her native California and in a growing number of other states and cities that now recognize a day of civil liberties and the Constitution in Fred Korematsu's honor. She tirelessly visits public and private schools, college campuses, and professional gatherings across the United States, sharing with generosity her passion for social justice and education. On the legal front, she has signed on to amicus briefs that oppose violations of constitutional rights. Her work for justice has gained Ms. Korematsu wide attention and numerous awards, furthering her father's proud legacy. President Sterritt, in recognition of her work for justice, it is my pleasure to present you Ms. Karen Korematsu.
For your demonstrated commitment to the Constitution and to a just world, and your passion for upholding our American ideals of inclusion, welcome, and fairness under the law, St. Michael's College is honored to award you, Karen Korematsu, the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa.
It is my great honor to present our newest honorary degree recipient, Karen Korematsu, who will present the commencement address.
Good morning and happy Mother's Day to all. I didn't know it was going to be so emotional. I have to say that the two people I wish that were here today were my parents. So enjoy your parents. I'm sorry. Thank you, President Sterritt and St. Michael's College Board of Trustees, and especially Mary Kate McKenna, Chair of the Board, and the Very Reverend David Craze, Superior General of the Society of St. Edmund, for inviting me to speak to you today. I will admit that I did not know anything about St. Michael's College when Dr. Sterritt told me that your mission is social justice driven. I said, yay, or in this setting, I should say, alleluia. Actually, alleluia is the word I would use to describe how I felt yesterday after the baccalaureate mass in the chapel. The service was so moving and inspirational, and I will never forget it. Of course, all of you graduates have taken history courses and hopefully would have studied about the World War II Japanese-American incarceration. However, you may not know much about my father, Fred Korematsu, who disobeyed the 1942 military orders that resulted in the 1944 landmark U.S. Supreme Court case of Korematsu versus the United States. My father's parents were immigrants from Fukuoka, Japan, and arrived separately in San Francisco in the early 1900s. Yes, my grandparents were immigrants. We are a land of immigrants, and it's not right that immigrants have become a negative instead of a positive. That is not what America is about. My father, Fred, was one of 4 sons born in Oakland, California, across the bay from San Francisco. My dad was like any other American kid and loved sports, hot dogs, and hanging out with his buddies. However, he did experience racism growing up. He was refused a haircut and refused to be served in a diner because he was Asian. He was called racist names and told to go down to Chinatown, where he belonged. Even before the bombing of Pearl Harbor, my dad was refused an application to enlist in the National Guard and the Coast Guard because he had a Japanese last name. He said to the senior military officer, "But I am an American. I want to serve my country." How would you react to this type of prejudice and discrimination? My dad felt embarrassed and humiliated. December 7th, 1941, was the bombing of the U.S. military ships in Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, by the Empire of Japan. As you know, this was the start of World War II for America. When Executive Order 9066 was issued by President Roosevelt, and now you know what executive orders are like, on February 19th, 1942, it gave the military authority to forcibly remove any person of Japanese ancestry along the West Coast and incarcerate them in American prison camps across this country for the duration of the war. My father refused to be put into a prison camp. We had done nothing wrong. He was an American. All due process of law was denied, and 2/3 of the 120,000 people of Japanese ancestry were American citizens. A third were under the age of 18. And if you were 1/32 Japanese, you would be put into a prison camp. On May 30th, 1942, my father was arrested and found guilty for disobeying the government's military orders. He believed in our Constitution, and when his case went all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court, he thought for sure he would see that the Japanese-American incarceration was unconstitutional. Sadly, in 1944, the Supreme Court ruled against him in a 6-3 decision. My father was disgusted. Towards the end of the war, Japanese Americans could go east if they had a job. The government knew that the Japanese Americans were not dangerous, but they would never publicly admit it. My father went to Detroit, Michigan, and that's where he met my mother. Since this is Mother's Day, I want to pay tribute to my mother, Catherine, who passed away in 2019. She was the first one in her family on both sides to graduate from college in 1942. Maybe there are some graduates here who are first-timers, and I'm sure that your families are very proud of you. My mother continued on to receive her master's in microbiology from Wayne State University in 1944. This enabled her to work on penicillin research at Ford Hospital and teach nursing to the sisters at Mount Carmel Mercy Hospital. My parents decided to marry in 1946, but because of the anti-miscegenation laws in both South Carolina and California, they had to stay in Detroit to be married. This was way before Loving versus Virginia, which was in 1967. A few years later, in 1949, my parents decided to move to the San Francisco Bay Area as my grandmother Korematsu wasn't well. I was born in Oakland, but attended schools in the next small town. In my elementary and middle schools, when the anniversary of the bombing of Pearl Harbor in Honolulu on December 7th rolled around, my teachers would tell the class that the Japanese were bad people. They had killed over 2,000 American military servicemen. And that was the end of the lesson. In the schoolyard and on the bus, my classmates would call me racist names, say that it was my fault for the bombing of Pearl Harbor, and to go back to Japan where you belong. I never told my parents and made up excuses not to ride the school bus. I couldn't wait until Christmas break because by January, my classmates had forgotten all about it, but I didn't. The irony to that story is my brother Ken, who is 4 years younger, had the same experience in school, and we never shared those painful times until we were in college. When I was 16 years old and a junior in high school, my class was studying the U.S. government and history. One of the assignments that my teacher gave was for each student to read a book of a different title relating to our course and stand up in front of the class to deliver an oral book report. This was a long time ago. I attended a high school of 2,500 students, and the majority were Caucasian, only about 6 Asian Americans and 2 African American students. On her designated day, my friend Maya, Japanese American, 3rd generation like myself, got up in front of our class with her report on a book named Concentration Camps USA. I thought, that's an interesting title. And then Maya started talking about the Japanese American internment, which I had never heard about before. She goes into detail description about that time in history. And then Maya said, but there was this one man who disobeyed the government's military orders, and his case ended up to be a landmark Supreme Court case called Korematsu versus United States. Oh, that's my name. And I had 35 pairs of eyes turning around looking at me, and I'm shrugging my shoulders, thinking it was some black sheep of the family, because she never said Fred. All I knew was that Korematsu was a very unusual Japanese name. I asked Maya right after class who she was talking about, and she said, "This is about your dad." I said, "No way, somebody would have told me." I go home and confront my mother, and she goes, "Yes, this is about your father." Then I get the other standard answer, "Well, you'll have to wait until he gets home to ask him." When my father arrived home, it was 8 o'clock in the evening, and not only had he experienced housing discrimination, but also employment discrimination, and he worked long hours. I had calmed down a little bit by that time, and when I told my dad what Maya said in class that day, he said, "It happened a long time ago, and what he did, he thought was right, and the government was wrong." That clear and simple. And I could see this hurt going over my dad's face, and I couldn't ask him any more questions about that experience. It was like somebody sucked me in the stomach. However, I did ask him if he could vote, because voting was important to both my father and mother. My dad and I didn't speak about his experience for another 17 years. And the irony to that story as well is my brother Ken found out about my father's case the same way in high school. Obviously, we did not have dinner talk. Almost 40 years go by. In 1983, my father's U.S. Supreme Court case was reopened when historian Professor Peter Irons discovered the documents in Washington, D.C. that proved that the government had lied to the Supreme Court, withheld evidence, and destroyed evidence. As a result, federal court judge Marilyn Hall Patel overturned my father's federal conviction. This was the trial that Japanese Americans never had 40 years earlier, and finally justice had prevailed. My father felt vindicated, and it proved there had been government misconduct. It was not until 1983 when I learned that my father had never given up hope that someday he would be able to reopen up his Supreme Court case. He just didn't know how to do that, but he wanted to continue to fight. In 1942, after my father's arrest, and he was found guilty and sent to San Bruno Tanforan Detention Prison Center, a racetrack with whitewashed walls and a dirt floor. My father's family was there, and all the Japanese American families from the San Francisco Bay Area. The community men decided to have a meeting to determine whether my father should carry on fighting his legal case. The others did not include my dad in that meeting, and afterwards, they told one of my father's brothers that they didn't want my father to carry on with his case because some harm might come to them. He was labeled a resistor, a troublemaker, and no one wanted anything to do with him. However, that did not stop my father. Even in 1983, when the Japanese American community had learned my father was going to reopen his Supreme Court case, there was pushback. This was the start of the Japanese American redress and reparations movement. Here again, the Japanese American community did not support him and said if my father continued with this case, it would jeopardize their chances. The reason I'm telling you all of this is because I want you to know that my father was never bitter or angry. He never blamed anyone. It was a simple matter of he felt he was right and the government was wrong. My father lived by his principles of right and wrong and treated everyone like he wanted to be treated. Even after my father's court case was overturned in 1983, he welcomed the Japanese American community with open arms and helped the redress and reparations campaign that resulted in the signing by President Reagan of the Civil Liberties Act of 1988, which was the official apology from the U.S. government for the Japanese American incarceration. My father crisscrossed this country speaking to law schools and universities, and he's my inspiration. He became well known for his activism and a hero to many, and he was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom by President Clinton in January 1998. However, he always felt that this medal was not just for him, but for all Japanese Americans who were falsely incarcerated. My father was a quiet man who wanted to be recognized as an American and as a patriot, and he held firm to his beliefs, and even though he had to wait 40 years for justice to be realized. Sadly, my father passed away in March 2005, and he charged me with the task of carrying on his work. I thought, how am I going to do that? I'm not an attorney. But along the way, I had a lot of help. So you never know who's going to help you to make your dreams come true. I founded the Fred T. Korematsu Institute, which is a nonprofit. Our mission is educating to advance racial equity, social justice, and human rights for all. Teachers in the audience, you can sign up for our Korematsu Institute curriculum toolkits that have elementary, middle school, and high school lesson plans. I'm putting in a plug here. We send these toolkits free of charge because we know education budgets are always being cut. But we want people of younger generation and your generation to understand the dangers of racism and racial profiling and the injustice of treating immigrants like they don't belong. Since I started speaking around the country, my age range of audience now are kindergartners to judges. I emphasize that social justice needs to be the basis in all aspects of career, community, and life. Social justice is our moral authority, and unfortunately, it is under attack. The stars lined up for me when I learned that St. Michael's was founded by the Society of St. Edmunds in 1904. The Edmundite Southern Missions is a Catholic organization founded in Selma, Alabama in 1937 to work among the African Americans. You probably all know that. March 7th, 1965 is known as Bloody Sunday, when nearly 600 civil rights activists to support black voting rights were brutally attacked by law enforcement while peacefully marching from Selma to Montgomery on the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma. I will have you know it was the Edmundite-run hospital that treated the victims of Bloody Sunday. On March the 2nd of this year, the Faith and Politics organization invited me to join them on their Alabama pilgrimage. I stood on the Edmund Pettus Bridge with Congressman John Lewis and 45 members of Congress in commemoration of the 45 years since Bloody Sunday. It was an emotional experience to participate in this honor. As Congressman Lewis said, the brave women and men who marched from Selma to Montgomery risked their lives to demand full and equal participation in our democracy. Remember, others have gone before us and sacrificed their lives. We have lost respect in this country in many ways, and we need to learn to appreciate each other's differences and not be afraid of them. If you know your own story, then you can appreciate other people's stories and differences. Prejudice is ignorance, and as Nelson Mandela said, education is our most powerful weapon, which you can use to change the world. Let me remind you, the fight for our voting rights and language access is not over. If we are to make positive change in this country, we must vote. And as American citizens, voting is our privilege, and also I want to emphasize our responsibility. We need to stop treating to vote like a throwaway. Our strongest voice is to vote. Your career and life opportunities might change along the way, and if you come to a fork in the road and you don't know which path to take, think of Fred Korematsu and take the path that's toward the common good, not the one where you would compromise your moral code. Remember, words matter. Work toward taking the negative and hateful rhetoric out of our lives. This year is an auspicious year for my father. On January 30th was his 100th birthday, and also it is Fred Korematsu Day of Civil Liberties and the Constitution that is honored in perpetuity in California, Hawaii, Virginia, Florida, and New York City. My father is the first Asian American to have a statewide day named after him, and we hope other states will follow, perhaps Vermont. Also on December 18th this year will be the 75th anniversary of my father's Supreme Court case, Korematsu versus the United States. This is a reminder that we have not learned the lessons of history from the 1942 Japanese-American incarceration to the parallels of the racial and religious profiling that Muslims, Arabs, Iranians, South Asians are all experiencing today. Being an American means to support citizens and non-citizens. My father was always afraid that something like the Japanese-American incarceration could happen again. And pay attention. North Korea. Fred Korematsu is in the face of adversity, was one person who made a difference, and so can you. Never give up hope. In other words, do not take no for an answer. Be courageous. I believe that all of you graduates have the ability to succeed in whatever path you might choose or that fate chooses for you. Be the positive change. Also, be like pebbles in the pond. And today, when you leave here, share what you have learned and share it throughout your life. You're the person that can make the difference. In the years ahead, please remember the words of my father. Stand up for what is right. And when you see something wrong, protest, but not with violence. Otherwise, they won't listen to you. But don't be afraid to speak up. Thank you, and be safe. Congratulations, St. Michael's class of 2019.
Thank you for those inspirational remarks. Before the conferral of degrees, we will have a musical selection, I Hope You Dance, by Mark D. Sanders and Tia Sillers, performed by Patricia Cohn and Alexander Bigelow from the class of 2019, and John P. Sweeney of the class of 2020.
I hope you never lose your sense of wonder. You get your fill to eat, but always keep that hunger. May you never take one single breath for granted. God forbid love ever leave you empty-handed. I hope you still feel small when you stand beside the ocean. Whenever one door closes, I hope one more opens. Promise me that you'll give faith a fighting chance. And when you get the choice to sit it out or dance, I hope you dance. I hope you dance. I hope you never fear those mountains in the distance. Never settle for the path of least resistance. Living might mean taking chances, but they're worth taking. Loving might be a mistake, but it's worth making. Don't let some hell-bent heart leave you bitter. When you come close to selling out, reconsider. Give the heavens above more than just a passing glance. And when you get the choice to sit it out or dance, I hope you dance. I hope you dance. I hope you dance. I hope you dance. I hope you still feel small when you stand beside the ocean. Whenever one door closes, I hope one more opens. Promise me that you'll give faith a fighting chance. And when you get the choice to sit it out or dance, dance, I hope you dance. I hope you dance. I hope you dance.
We will now begin the conferral of degrees. The master's candidates are coming now forward. Master's candidates have been recommended for graduation from our programs in clinical psychology, education, and teaching English to speakers of other languages. Dr. Jonathan Demore, Associate Dean of the College, will now present the candidates for graduate and undergraduate degrees for the class of 2019. For a few of our students, a family member with an association to the college will be present on the podium to participate in the awarding of the diploma. For undergraduate students, Dr. Demore will also be announcing the awarding of departmental and program honors given to the highest achieving student in each major.
Candidates for the degree of Master of Arts in Clinical Psychology. Nira B.K. Rachel Elizabeth Clokey. Kara Corneau. Kadeen Jouer. Alexander Davis Lodge. Caitlin Mary Page Rule. Gerald Duchesne Malpere Pasalacqua. Kirsten Demarest Root. Nicole Searle. Bridget Sullivan. Andrew Robert Thompson. Tino Tomasi. Candidates for the degree Master of Education. Paige B. Benedict. Margaret Marie DeMasi. Taylor Lynn Donnelly. Molly Estabrook. Kirby Smith Fisher. Natalie Elena Lodge. Allison Mills. Amy L. Moore. Elizabeth Louise Pacey. Jessica R. Paceros. Melinda Ransom. Stephanie Rossier. Catherine Chase Seitz. Jessica Taplin. Callan Olivia Hannon Tracy. Patrick Wilworth. Candidates for the degree Master of Arts in Teaching English to Speakers of Other Languages. Aram Ahmed. Athir Abdul Hakim Hasak Amayahi. Muhammad Jamil Isa Hassan Abdulamir Al-Safar. Joanne Bobier. Madison Ray Bennett. Elizabeth M. Clapp. Dai Zhang. Dong Qian. Yulia Renisovna Fakrudinova. Davia Deborah Lawrence. Nancy P. Lindberg. Abija L. Manga. Wency Steva Nusi. Amanda Catherine Riska. Nicole Patricia Sties. Irina Suboda. Zhisheng Wang. Wai Zhangtong.
By the power vested in me by the Board of Trustees and by the authority of the State of Vermont, I hereby confer upon you these master's degrees with all rights and privileges pertaining thereto. Congratulations.
Candidates for the degree Bachelor of Arts. Joshua William Abernathy. Abigail Michaela Adams. Ruby Feuerbach Aldrich. Lexi Alexopoulos. Megan Mackenzie Allison. Corbin Troy Arsenault. Monica E. Austin. The next degree will be presented by Professor Jeffrey Ayers of the Political Science Department. McKelvey Catherine Ayers. Jose Ramon Backer. David J. Baird. Catherine Elizabeth Berry. Alexa Noel Bellinger. Caroline Palmer Bennett. Nicholas A. Burkus. Brandon Belinsky. Alexander Eastman Bigelow. Receiving departmental honors in elementary education, Samara G. Bissonette. Abigail Bolin. Lily Christine Bonadies. Jennifer Marie Brady. Noah Martin Braun. Kylie Simone Bryce. Michael Edward Bureau. Receiving departmental honors in philosophy, Jonathan R. Burgess. Receiving departmental honors in theater, Jennifer Rose Burke. Tucker Buteau. Seamus Robert Butler. Neva May Callahan. John Jack Karen. Receiving departmental honors in psychology, Emily Rose Shabbat. Megan Cecilia Chan. Morgan Shaylin Chavez. Derek Lorenzo Cheatham. Sishong Chen. Jessie Elizabeth Clegg. Henry Collier. Delia Laffey Conlon. Polly Lane Corbett. Rui Correa. Jessica Costa. Caitlin Carmela Costa. Brianna Delise Counts. Connor Lee Cryans. Jamira Davis. Margaret Elizabeth DuPont. Aaron Nicholas Dieter. Receiving program honors in American Studies, Mia Killian Delabovi. Hannah Dellery. Christian Michael Devine. Margaret Devlin. Robert M. Didis, Jr. Receiving departmental honors in anthropology, Amanda Catherine Dombrowski. Jack Donahue. Matthew Jeremiah Doyle. Emma Grace Drennan. John Harold Drew. Deandra Duarte. Ellen Lee Emmers. John Ang. Kaylee Nicole Fallon. Grace Antoinette Gerard Faria. Catherine M. Farrell. Megan Elizabeth Feenan. Connor Joseph Finn. Garrett Edward Finn. Colin Wilson Tucker Fitzgerald. Cassidy Flanagan. Margaret N. Flanagan. Daniel Foley. Samantha Foote. Matthew Forneris. Benjamin Fox. Emily Francis Francomano. Owen Carl Freeman. Rudy Cifuentes Galicia. Brenna Elizabeth Galvin. Kevin Kirkpatrick Garber. Emily J. Garboski. Russell David Gregorian. Tess A. Grimaldi. Sarah Ingrid Davidson Haney. Emily Marie Hanth. Caroline Marie Hart. Ryan Christopher Hay. Lindsay A. Hedges. Taryn Claire Hennigan. Nicholas Ermari. Kelsey M. Higgins. Receiving departmental honors in art education, Megan Elizabeth Yerpe. Anne Elizabeth Hogan. Caitlin Jane Holmquist. Finn Hopkins. Sarah Iandoli. Marisa Angelina Iannito. Devin L. Imperati. Shay I. Ingham. Receiving departmental honors in Spanish, Edwin Francis Innes. Receiving departmental honors in Media Studies, Journalism, and Digital Arts, Natalie Ray Jackson. John William Jacob. Receiving departmental honors in Political Science, Marina Jerry. Dane Norris Johnson. Receiving departmental honors in Education Studies, Winston Dale Jones II. Sadie Antoinette Kaplan. Tiffany Fatuma Katsuva. Shannon Kelly. Ryan Thomas Kirkpatrick. Andrew T. Kerner. Emily Catherine Kopaz. Andrew Kevin Krebsbach. Daniel Krasinski. Megan Marie Kruger. Catherine Marie Lafont. Brianna Lambert Jenkins. Sabrina Ray Lamel. Talia Lawrence. Dagmar Charity Lee Wright. Alicia N. Lee. Receiving departmental honors in international relations, Laura Elizabeth Weishan Lin. Maria Rania Louis Goncalves. Elena Faye Lloyd. Molly Elizabeth Lovell. Phoebe Grace Marie Lowe. Receiving departmental honors in music, Connor James Macias. Gavin Murphy Mahoney. Vanessa Carly Malloy. Owen Marks. Anne Martin. Catherine Martin. Alexandra Rosina Mazzotti. John P. McNesby IV. Receiving departmental honors in environmental studies, Kristen M. McDowell. Maxwell I. McDowell. Samantha Page McGrail. Coleman Walter McIntyre. Margaret Frances McEwen. Veronica Jane McMorrow. Daniel Franklin McPhee. Receiving departmental honors in English, Anna Souza Musel. Carrie Ann Patricia Miller. Hannah Nicole Mishricky. Henry W. Molinari. Receiving departmental honors in economics, Nadine B. Monticelli. Salia Mu. Elizabeth Guy Moore. Jack James Morrison. John Francis Myers III. Mariah Rose Newman. Anne Catherine O'Brien. Colin James O'Brien. Elizabeth Mary Grace O'Donnell. Catherine Jean O'Donoghue. Alexandra Rose Honorato. Catherine Anastasia O'Sullivan. Alexander Robert Otten. Joel D. Parody. Michael Pastor. Chase Loxley Plant. Allison Spencer Plummer. Jacob Poskus. Thane John Prete. Yanela Putur. Liam R. Rademacher. Receiving departmental honors in elementary education, Gabrielle Makana Rate. Caitlin Ann Riley. Jacob Remillard. Mark Restusha. Receiving departmental honors in French, Rebecca Anna Rowinski. Lance Ryan Reynolds. Receiving departmental honors both in history and in secondary education, Drake Rivas. Shannon Mora Roberto. Sarah Margaret Rogers. Sarah Catherine Rook. Emma Rose. Nora Tam Rudnick. Lindsay Barbara Ryan. Michael Savoy. Christina Mary Shenna. Kayla Schneider. Edward Richard Seeger III. Andrew Setchell. Elena Marilyn Shelsey. Ariana Sherman. Kelly Irene Smith. Caitlin Rose Speck. Christopher Spodek. Elizabeth R. Stapleton. Caitlin Rose Stemrich. Receiving departmental honors in sociology, Lauren Alexis Stone. Rebecca Ann Stoges. Robson Dietrich Tago. Nicole E. Talcott. Nathan M. Terry. Madeline Ann Tesoro. Chloe Jean Therian. Susanna M. Troop. Brendan Donald Todd. Christopher Thomas Tile. Susanna Margaret Van Royen. Receiving departmental honors in business administration, Morgan Elizabeth Vassar. Fiona Van Osen. Abigail Pauline Walsh. Halbo Wong. Asa Christopher Benjamin Whalen. Sarah R. Williams. Evangeline Starr Wilton. Emily Snow Wright. Ryan Wormsdobler. Brianna Elizabeth Young. Jeremy Michelson. Fengting Zheng.
By the power vested in me by the Board of Trustees and by the authority of the state of Vermont, I hereby confer upon you the degrees of Bachelor of Arts with all rights and privileges pertaining thereto. Congratulations.
Candidates for the degree Bachelor of Science: Sean Michael Adamson. Christiana Akiki. Maxwell John Allen. Trevor Scott Allen. James Lyndon Aloisi. Bradley M. Anair. Alexandra Marie Epkarian. Zachary Atwell. Richard Bachet. John Daniel Balling. Joel Philip Banaszak. James Patrick Barker. Receiving departmental honors in computer science: Kevin Michael Barnum. Elizabeth Ann Bauman. Julia Elena Bedini. Elena Bennett. Receiving departmental honors in physics: Ian William Bennett. Dylan T. Bernash. Receiving program honors in biochemistry: Marissa Berry. Receiving departmental honors in biology: Lori Lorraine Blaze. Abigail Louise Blanchett. David Boardman. Receiving departmental honors in mathematics: Mariah Cecile Boudreau. Megan Claire Breen. Michael Cormac Burt. Ross Harry Burton. Michael Gerard Byrne. Cameron Kaforia. Emily Elizabeth Calder. Gareth John Lane Carey. Brady M. Channel. Alexa Rose Chaquette. The next degree will be presented by former trustee Phil Chula. Kyle McInnes Chula. Ellie Clark. Emily Clinch. Kira Margaret Cogger. Matthew Collins. Savannah Isabella Conrad. Dennis James Cooney. Matthew Gallagher Cotter. Haley Brianne Craddock. Victoria Elizabeth Creighton. Thomas Cradell. Robert Ryan Cummings. Alexa DeAndrea. Robert Henry Dano. Samuel D'Antuono. Eric Terry de Blasio. Lauren DeDeco. Samantha Patricia Delaney. John Thomas Diamond IV. Connor Evan DiNatale. Madison Grace DeBecky. Elizabeth Claire Doherty. Patrick James Doherty. Elizabeth Ann Donahoe. Matthew George Downing. Molly Elizabeth Doyle. Patrick Kalick Drabinski. Amy Catherine Duclos. Emily Laurier Durrett. Elizabeth Rose Earl. Danielle K. Easton. Parker Dorley Eddington. Christina Lynn Ferrer. Andrew George Ferris. Molly Feeney. Receiving departmental honors in biology, Emily Della Ferreri. Benjamin H. Flaherty. Austin Callum McLeod Flukager. Daniel Kelly Flynn. Jordan Folds. Jordan Mark Gabry. William Paul Garay. Colin Joseph Gaunt. Caleb M. Gefkin. Melanie Jean George. Kelly Ann Gahuli. Meredith Paul Gill. Matthew Gibson. Hunter Braden Goodwin. Guillaume Grand. Torius Mielde Grimsrud. Brett Evan Gruber. Benjamin P. Gilmet. Jalen Giovanni Hall. Taylor Ann Harris. Mauji Hay. Kara Ann Hedinger. Joshua Higgins. Jared Hinson. Calvin Holland. Levi A. Holmes III. Xuan-Ning Ho. Devin Hoon. Kevin Christopher Hutchins. John Isola. Sarah Elizabeth Jewett. Tendai Andrew John. Christopher Gregory Johnson. Morgan Brittany Johnston. Receiving departmental honors in art, Emily Jean Joyce. Noah Brannon Keogh. Marin Louise King. Kayla B. Kinsley. Timothy L. Kinville. Patricia Cohn. Claire Elise Condrotis. Hannah Marie Creeley. The next degree will be presented by Shirley Goodell Lackey of the Finance Office, Ryan Hayden Lackey. Evan M. Lagerberg. Patrick Robert Leary. Megan Elizabeth LaCour. Catherine Joan Leonard. Tao Lin. Matthew Patrick Logue. Ryan Patrick Londrigan. Clara Lopez Costa. Neil Joseph McClellan. David Malota. Emily Martin. McKenna Elizabeth Martin. Alexandra Elizabeth Medillo. Marilyn Marie McCall. Matthew Wall McCauley. Mitchell Wayne McDonald. Connor McGurk. Tristan Kevin McInnes. Colin R. McKeith. Morgan Joyce McLaughlin. Megan Myers. Mary Kathleen Miller. John Dowling Milton. Riley Middigy. James Patrick Modick. Madison L. Moore. Marissa Ray Moore. Brendan Morris. Catherine Anne-Marie Neal. Madison Bailey Nichols. John Noonan. Matthew James Oliver. Receiving departmental honors in religious studies, Callie Danielle Opsel. Samantha Ann Orsieri. Jack Kevin Willett. Nicole V. Willett. Receiving departmental honors in accounting, Alana X. Parker. Daniel Hernan Pernia Burgos. Noelle Allison Picard. Gabrielle Pineda. Haley Poitras. Tyler W. Prime. Cole David Riley. Mercedes Rebecca Reuter. Angelo Christopher Rice. Joseph Patrick Robertson. Janelle Monique Robinson. Megan Catherine Robinson. Catherine Elizabeth Sachatella. Lenara Safarova. Stephen Achille Scarangella. Liam Robert Schmelze. Anna Caroline Schneider. Aaron C. Schober. James Richard Schwab. Elizabeth Sr. Nicholas Anthony Setti. Marie E. Shepard. Megan Shea Smith. Harrison Edward Southworth. Amanda D. Spink. Alexander W. Sprague. Kristen Marie Steck. Paul Francis Stumpf. Holly Ann Sullivan. Joshua Sumner. Jacob Todd Sutton. Francis C. Sweener IV. Corey Joseph Thibodeau. Jacob Thompson. Matthew Thompson. Patrick Edward Thornton. Yoron Tion. Fallon Rose Tierney. Rachel Catherine Tierney. Receiving departmental honors in chemistry, Emma Eileen Timmel. Tyler Tolosano. Jennifer Uribe. Samuel M. Vall. Receiving departmental honors in environmental science, Alyssa L. Valentine. Alexandra Lynn Vincent. Philip Reed Watkins. Thomas Weaver. Catherine Elizabeth Wheeler. Gabrielle Cara Marie White. Nicole White. Aaron Quinn Williams. Gregory Williams. Bailey Misia Windholm. Claudio Wingarts Otudi. Sean Michael Winthrop. Mingjung Yang. Brandon M. Young.
By the power vested in me by the Board of Trustees and by the authority of the State of Vermont, I hereby confer upon you the degree of Bachelor of Science with all rights and privileges pertaining thereto. Congratulations.
It is now my pleasure to introduce the Vice President of the St. Michael's Alumni Association Board of Directors, Craig Duffy, class of 2006.
Thank you, and good afternoon. I'm so happy to be here today, and I'm lucky that I have the distinct honor of being the last speaker before you all leave today, so I will try to keep this nice and quick. The past 4 years here have largely been about making connections. Your professors, your mentors, your best friends here at St. Michael's. I hope you feel as though you've gained a new family, which is just about to get a little bit bigger. Our Alumni Association is an amazing network of over 20,000 strong. Alums who have a shared love for this school, its students, its faculty, its staff, and for each other. I can't wait to hear the success stories that come out of the class of 2019, already knowing that there are many talented, brilliant, and interesting people sitting right here before me. As you transition from students to alumni, the Career Education and Alumni Engagement Center is making the job search easier by connecting alums and current students to an exciting new platform called SMC Connect, a new online mentoring and networking tool that goes beyond LinkedIn to provide personalized career advice and opportunities. An invitation to join SMC Connect has been sent to you, and I'd be happy to be your first alumni connection. Another powerful example of the impact alumni have is the Named Scholarship Program. In today's program is a list of named scholars who have met a high level of academic standing in order to maintain their scholarships. These awards were made possible by the generosity of alumni and friends of St. Michael's, and we thank them for their continued support. You can join alumni clubs across the country, host internships, or serve as mentors to current students. You can staff college fairs and present the book award at your high school. We also ask that you give back financially, even in small amounts. It's not about how much you give, but the fact you give that strengthens our reputation. Many of you have already generously donated to your senior class gift, and we hope that's the first of many ways you'll remain involved for years to come. For all of the opportunities that St. Michael's gave to me, being active in the alumni community has never felt like something that I had to do, but something that I wanted to do. The memories and experiences you've had here at St. Michael's will last a lifetime, whether you realize it soon after today or years from now. As you make the transition from student to alumni, please know that we're here to help you, support you, encourage you, and guide you. Class of 19, welcome to your alumni family. We're thrilled to have you. Congratulations.
As our ceremony draws to a close, I want to take a moment to thank all of those individuals and offices who've worked so hard to make today's celebration run smoothly, particularly those in the President's Office, Academic Affairs, Public Safety, Special Events, and Student Affairs. In addition, our pride in the accomplishments of graduates is enhanced by the knowledge that over the past 4 years, the committed faculty and staff of St. Michael's College have interacted with our students in transformational ways. I would now like to ask the faculty and staff who are here today to stand so we may acknowledge and thank them for dedicating themselves to student learning at St. Michael's College. It's my honor to introduce the Very Reverend David Cray, class of 1968, Superior General of the Society of St. Edmund, to give our benediction.
Our benediction will be brief. Just remind us as we began this celebration in prayer and in the presence of the Lord, to remind us that we always are in His presence and to ask Him to be with us. Almighty God, you have taught us that there was a time to be born, a time to die, a time to weep, and a time to laugh, a time to mourn, and a time to dance, a time for every occupation under heaven. We thank you, Lord, for bringing us to this day, a time to rejoice. Our graduates have accomplished what they came here to do, and as St. Michael's, we have done our best to help them to become the best that they can be, the men and women that you created them to be. As they leave St. Michael's campus, let them bring St. Michael's with them. Let them bring St. Michael's values with them into their new worlds, the spiritual and moral and intellectual traditions of the Catholic faith, a passion for compassion, a passion for social justice for all peoples according to your will, a love for community as they have lived it here together, and a talent for building community in a divided world. Class of 2019, we call on God to bless you as you leave here in the same words that God gave to Aaron and his sons to bless the children of Israel on their journey to their promised land. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord let his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord look upon you kindly and give you his peace. And may the blessing of Almighty God, the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit come upon us all and remain with us always.
Following this ceremony, please join us for a reception in front of the Durick Library so that we can share food and conversation. Members of the faculty will be standing at tables labeled with departmental signs so that graduates can introduce family members to faculty. The tables are arranged alphabetically by department, beginning at your right-hand corner if you're standing on the library steps looking out towards the chapel, and proceeding clockwise around the ring. Please take a few moments then at this time to enjoy the wonderful celebration with those who've been part of your St. Michael's experience. I would ask that you please stay seated until the graduates have recessed from the gymnasium. So will our three valedictorians please come to the bottom of the stairs here to join President Sterrett for the recessional, and I may now declare that the 112th commencement exercises of St. Michael's College are now dismissed.